I think what makes my story so much fun and bigger than life is because my story starts from someone else's. And that story would be my mother's. Her dream was to go to the Olympics for gymnastics, but that career ended for her shortly and briefly after being hit by a drunk driver at the age of 16. She could have laid down, she could have felt sorry for herself after losing the use of her legs and knowing she would never be going to Olympics for gymnastics. She was the very first rookie to make starting five for the Canadian national women's basketball team. And you know, that's a huge accomplishment, I think, for anyone. It was a paraplegic team. I'm pretty sure I might be one of the very first, if not the first, child born to a paraplegic woman. And that was because doctors, while her pregnancy with me, advised her to abort me. I mean, what a sad world this would be without me. A lot of paraplegics didn't have families back then. So I grew up in a community with no children. I grew up pretty much with all these wheelchair athletes. And a lot of them have the craziest sense of humor. I had a dark sense of humor at a very young age, and I knew how to get a laugh out of people only because I was completely and always surrounded by adults, and that they were my big influencers, right? So I think I just knew how to relate better to a more mature audience. I don't think you know how to put your finger on what your sexuality is growing up. I was never raised to have one key thing that identifies me, right? I was always Collin first. I didn't come out till I was actually older, and I guess I didn't come out till I was older because of the negative messaging that came from media. At the time too, especially in the late 80s, there was a lot of media coverage around HIV and AIDS, right? And the stigma that went with that, with it was a gay man's disease. And so, of course, I was gonna hunker down and be very discreet about who I was now. I think what has, again, helped with my longevity, especially in this position, are my experiences in life. This job specifically deals with HIV and AIDS, and with that you have to talk about hard issues, such as drug use, such as sexual health. And that's not comfortable for a lot of people. Being who I am, a young gay man, helped me a lot in this job because I already came with a lot of valuable experiences, and I had done a lot of work on myself to understand my who I was. I was able to use that with people that may be struggling with that piece of their identity, and I identified as a two-spirit. It didn't mean I was necessarily gay. It meant that I was naturally born with the gift to see both the male and the female side of that's why we were usually historically mediators. And they say it's not because we had two spirits housed within us. It was the ability to go back and forth and pick up on male essence or female essence.
Subject name, Paloma Marquez. Gender, female. Eyes, brown. Hair, fabulous. Enter Paloma Marquez.
Domesticated girl, that's all you ask of me. Darling, it is no joke, this is lycanthropy.
It's funny, I have this old photo. I think I'm maybe 3, and I'm wearing my mother's bra. It's the best damn photo ever. So maybe that would be the first time. I was living in this dead-end town in Sault Ste. Marie. I decided I wanted to come back to Thunder Bay. So I came here and couldn't find a job. I found a place for dirt cheap, like it was like $150. And that's how old I am, holy shit. Rent was cheap. I couldn't find a job, so I didn't have any money. And so what I did, what any kid would naturally do, I called home and I asked for money to help me out. And my mom sent me enough to cover rent and buy some groceries. And I, of course, did what any self-respecting young gay man would do. I got my hair done. Halfway through getting my hair done, I realized I was just blowing my rent money. The person doing my hair was this beautiful, beautiful black man. His name was Junior. Junior then told me that, you know, I had great cheekbones and that I should do drag and that there was a competition coming up and that one of the prizes was money. Again, I didn't know this about Junior, but Junior was the talented, mesmerizing Julia Coco Mango, and she was the most celebrated beauty in drag in her day, back in that era. So I borrowed her stuff. I ended up doing really well. I won. And then I was offered a job at the bar doing drag, and that's how I kind of got into it. It was just weird fluke by chance, you know. Was I disgusted by drag? No. I didn't think it was something I could do. I think my boy persona, Collin, is very reserved, very shy. I am not. I'm a little bit more fun. Being gay, Aboriginal, and a drag queen in this community can be tough. And where I feel that someone has been most judgmental of me would be being Aboriginal. Being Aboriginal is by far the one thing that still stands out where I get judged most on. I learned to become kind of ashamed of being Indigenous. The term minority kind of pisses me off, right? Because the last thing I ever thought of myself is a minority. I'm not a minority. First and foremost, I'm Collin Graham. And there are so many complexities and intricate parts that make me who I am. I think the difference between Collin and Paloma is Collin is a lot of fun, don't get me wrong, but you'll most likely just shut down a bar. Paloma, well, they'll burn it down. This is how I find release when dealing with the stresses from my everyday job, my everyday life as Collin. I'm really inspired at the stuff in the 70s, but more really strong characters. Not this crappy stuff you see today like Miley Cyrus. I don't know what the hell I could ever do with that other than wish for that time back for watching it. I love Kill Bill. I actually use Kill Bill a lot in a lot of my stuff. One of my drag personas when I work is like a whole Kill Bill fashion assassin. I'm like this big giant 6'7" drag queen ninja. It's fun. It's allowed for me to really do some crazy stuff with my drag. Very flexible. I didn't recognize that I was a leader until the later years now, where I am today, where I was going out partying and having fun when I was younger and trying to make money. I didn't realize in those moments I was inspiring young gay boys and girls, because there's drag kings now in our community, to do it, right? I was just trying to come up with some rent money. And now it's turned into almost, I guess, a weird beacon for young gay aspiring artists that just want to express themselves or be heard. No youth, especially at that time in their life when they're vulnerable and trying to figure out who they are, should be made to feel less than, right? So I wanted to get into the work that I do so that people don't necessarily have to continuously live under such brutal pressure, because it's such a nasty world already as it is out there. So never stray from who you are. It's very important you stay true with your own vision and not let other people dictate how to do your art. I'm gonna cut you.